everyone, and welcome back. Today's video is part 2 of my infertility journey. If you missed part 1, I will leave a link in the description down below so you can watch that first. And with that said, I think we're going to just dive in right where we left off last time. In the last video, I talked about how I stopped taking my birth control in June of 2014, and my husband and I started kind of this limbo phase where we weren't trying, but we weren't trying not to get pregnant at the same time. That first year went really smoothly, with the exception of not getting pregnant and not having a baby. There were really no signs or symptoms that anything was wrong. I was really regular. I didn't have any pain. I didn't have any weird feelings. The only thing that told me that something was wrong was that intuition, that deep down feeling that it wasn't going to be that easy for us. However, in July of 2015, those feelings were kind of vindicated when I got my first sign that something was wrong. I was due to start my period on the 1st of the month, and it didn't start on the 1st. But I honestly was so busy with work and family and friend things and preparing for the 4th of July that I didn't actually notice that I was late until the 4th of July actually came. So on the 4th of July, when I realized I was late, I decided I was going to sneak away from all the family and friends and festivities and go buy a pregnancy test that I could take first thing in the morning. And I was so excited because in my mind, there was only one reason why I would be late, and that was if I was pregnant. So I took my test on the 5th, and it came back negative. And I was so confused and frustrated at first because I thought, why else would I be late? But then I kind of settled myself down and I told myself that maybe it was just too early in my pregnancy to take the test and I should wait a week and retest. So for the next week, I planned on treating myself as if I was pregnant, and then I would get my confirmation that there really was a baby and I could surprise my husband and everyone else. However, I never made it to my retest on the 12th because I got my period on the 10th. But it was not like any period I'd ever had before. I was in so much pain and I had the worst cramps that I had ever felt. And if you've never had bad menstrual cramps, then you're probably not going to understand this. But the pain did not just go by my stomach and uterus area. It was around my entire back. It was down my legs, and it hurt so bad that I couldn't sit up, I couldn't stand, I couldn't move. I was literally laying on the floor in the fetal position, moaning and groaning with pain to the point where if someone would have come to my door, they probably would have thought I was like giving birth in my living room. I was in so much pain that I was honestly scared. I thought something was wrong. I thought that something had burst. Like, it was not pain of, oh, I'm just starting my monthly cycle. And my husband had never seen me in pain like that before either, so he was scared as well and insisted on taking me into Instacare. So I took some painkillers. They were able to get me to the point where I could walk into the Instacare and I could tell the doctor what was going on. And the doctor ran some tests and came back with 2 possibilities. 1, something was wrong with my reproductive system. However, the tests were expensive, and since this was my first time experiencing anything like this, he didn't want to run them unless absolutely necessary, so he wanted me to wait and see how my next cycle went. Or 2, what he thought was more likely, I was having a very early term miscarriage. And that to me was heartbreaking because for the last year, I had wanted to have a baby. And now here I was, and I thought I may have been so close. I may have actually even been pregnant, and I couldn't take care of it, and I lost it. And of course, it wouldn't have been anything that I did. I was trying to treat myself as if I were pregnant, and people have miscarriages that are unexplained all the time. But to me, it was very difficult to hear that. However, it was a little bittersweet because it was really difficult for my husband to hear as well, and it kind of brought him onto the same page I was already on. And we decided no more of this limbo. We were definitely trying to get pregnant. So, it was very bittersweet. We didn't have the baby that we both would have loved to have, but we were both finally on the same page and we were going to move forward, and we were excited to start really trying to have a baby. In August, I got a normal cycle, which was disappointing because I wanted to be pregnant, but because I wasn't in any pain and I didn't have any cramps, it was also very uplifting because I thought, this means nothing is wrong with me. My husband and I are finally on the same page. It's the perfect time for the universe to send us our baby. So I got super excited. And in September, once again, I was late. And I got just elated at the idea that I was finally pregnant. So I took a test, and it was negative. And immediately my heart just dropped. It was like it fell all the way out onto the floor, because all I could think of is what happened in July. And I was thinking, oh my God, there might be something wrong with me. I might never be able to get pregnant. I tried to talk myself out of that, and I told myself, no, you need to be patient. You need to wait a week, and you need to retest, just like you planned on doing in July. So that's what I did. I waited a week. Nothing happened, so I started getting excited again. I retested, and it was negative. And at this point, I just knew something was wrong. And there's no worse feeling than the feeling that your entire life is worthless, because that's how I felt. Because I immediately knew something had to be wrong with me, and if I couldn't get pregnant, if I couldn't have a baby, every dream about the future, every hope and goal I had for my entire life was gone. Because that's all I'd ever pictured. That's all that had been consistent. And then I started to feel even worse, because it wasn't just my dream that was gone. My husband's dreams of being a father, gone. My ability to make our parents grandparents, gone. All of our siblings that looked forward to us having kids so they could be aunts and uncles. All our nieces and nephews who wanted more cousins. I couldn't do that for them. I was failing everyone. I was a failure. I was a failure as a wife. I was a failure as a daughter. I was a failure as a sister. I was a failure as a woman, because my body is supposed to be able to do this thing, and it's failed me. Oh, sorry. I knew I needed to get answers, so I called the doctor's office and asked them what I should do. They told me that they should do a blood test to actually make sure if I was pregnant or not. So at the end of September, I went in for a blood test. Came back negative. I wasn't surprised at all. And at this point, I had gone an entire month. I had missed an entire month of my cycle. I finally got one in October. And it wasn't painful or anything, but it was just painful emotionally. It was draining, and it was upsetting because I knew something was wrong. So I called my doctor's office, and I asked them if I could have an appointment with the doctor for them to run the tests on my entire reproductive system to try and find out what was wrong. And my doctor was pretty booked up for November, so she couldn't see me till the beginning of December, so I had to just wait and be patient. But I wasn't entirely sure. I didn't have enough faith in my doctor that she could figure out what was wrong. So I also did a bunch of research, found a fertility specialist in the area that I could see, and I made an appointment with their office as well. And I thought it would be better to make an appointment because they couldn't see me until January. It'd be better to make an appointment in advance and then cancel it if the doctor was able to give me answers than to wait until after I saw my doctor and then try to see this specialist and have to wait months to get my answers. So I made both appointments, and then it was just sit and wait. And I finally was able to go to my doctor in December, and she ran a ton of tests. She did 2 different kinds of ultrasounds. She did a PAP, she did a blood work, and a hormone test. And at the end of the day, she came back and she had no answers for me. She could not find a single thing wrong with any of the tests. So she suggested that I go see a specialist, which I had already thought ahead and already made an appointment, so then it was just wait until January when I could see the specialist. And I finally got to see him, and I went into the doctor's appointment, and they ran all the same tests as my other doctor did. But his blood work and his hormone test was a lot more in depth than my original doctor's tests were, and so he was able to tell me that my hormones were imbalanced in a way that pointed to a diagnosis of polycystic ovarian syndrome, or PCOS. And I know that sounds, to anyone who doesn't have experience with PCOS, it sounds more like a cyst issue, a problem where I have a lot of cysts on my ovaries. But that's not necessarily all that PCOS is. It can absolutely cause cysts. However, it also causes a lot of other issues. It causes insulin resistance, it causes thyroid issues, it causes problems with weight management, it causes weird hair growth, and it also causes what they call anovulation, which is basically I don't ovulate. And that was what I was suffering from. I didn't have the cysts or the weight management issues, but I wasn't ovulating at all. And if you don't ovulate, you can't get pregnant. It's impossible without ovulation. So the doctor gave me 3 possible solutions. First, I could go on to birth control. And it was a solution that would regulate my periods again, so I would be regular. It would get rid of most of the painful cramps, and it might boost my system and make it go back to its regular cycle, so when I came off of the birth control, I'd have a higher chance of getting pregnant, but it would prevent me from getting pregnant for the months or years that I was on it. So that really wasn't a solution that I wanted to try. The second solution was that I could go onto fertility treatments, like fertility drugs such as Clomid, and it would force my body to ovulate so that I could try to get pregnant. Or my third option was I could continue to do nothing and hope that my system kind of figured itself out on its own through exercise and diet and things like that. And that seemed like the best option to me at the time. To be honest, I am stubborn. So while I 100% believed everything that the doctor was telling me, and I did believe that I had PCOS, I also kind of wanted to prove the doctor and my husband and myself and my own body wrong, and I wanted to prove that I didn't need their help. I could do this. So that was the option that I decided to start with. This video is kind of getting a little long, so I think that's a good place to leave off. In the next video, I will talk about the natural solutions that I tried and why I stopped trying the natural solutions and what I've done since then, and hopefully where my future is going. Yeah, we'll see. If you want to see part 3 of this video, please hit that like button and please hit the subscribe and the little bell notification so that you'll know when I post it. If you enjoy watching videos that are not related to travel and are a little bit more personal, please hit the like button and maybe leave a comment down below about your own experiences with infertility or just words of encouragement and support, because I know that I could use them, and I'm sure anyone else struggling with infertility who may stumble upon this video could really use the encouragement as well. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.